start putting them in. As we mentioned, Dr. Katz is with us, but it'll be a little while before he's back doing a Thoughtful Thursday. It doesn't mean we can't still be thoughtful on Thursdays. In fact, we should. However, he'll not be here to guide our thoughts for the next few weeks. So now is your chance.
Nicely done, Mike.
Yeah, it's about normal here.
Yeah, a little bit. Oh boy. Yeah, I would say a little.
Oh, well, I'm still just sitting in it, waiting for something interesting to happen. So it's just bouncing around now. Looks like if I had to guess, it's going to come and stop me out. But we'll see. May get lucky. May ride out this choppy action and hang in there. But looks like it's going up. All right. So here's a random question, since it's applicable, Dr. Katz. I just came back. I had a nice little outing here midday and jumped back and trying to get myself back into the trading mindset. Any way to you can use to sort of snap yourself into a trading mindset or any mindset quickly? You know, like I said, I was busy thinking about other things, having a good time. Like, oh, I got to trade. And I find that I come back and I jump into trades before I'm actually mentally ready.
So yeah, that's a good question. I think actually what you have to be prepared to do, and this is something when you know you're going to be taking maybe some time off like you did today, is just to kind of have a mindset that you're going to sit down and kind of get reacclimated to the markets, and maybe not necessarily a designated period of time, but at least a short period of time where you kind of are set not trading. Just to kind of get your sea legs, so to speak, and how you're seeing things. I think that that's probably the best way to do that. The danger with that is that you get sitting down and all of a sudden a good opportunity might present itself and you don't want to miss it, but you're not really in the mindset to take it. So I think you just have to be mentally prepared and almost be disciplined, like, okay, I'm going to get back in my seat at 1 o'clock after having spent the morning off. Let me give myself like the first 20 minutes or so to kind of just get a sense of what's going on before I kind of jump into any trade. Because if you don't have a plan of how you're going to approach that, you're probably going to go down the path of least resistance and just gravitate towards the norm, which would be as soon as you see something, you're ready to go, but you're not prepared, which is, it's similar with athletics. You know, I tell athletes getting a really good warm up is hugely important, so that when the first point of the tennis match or the jump ball of the basketball game or whatever it is, they're kind of already kind of lathered up and ready to go mentally and physically in game shape, as opposed to playing your way into a game, which could be a little dangerous in the early part of any athletic competition, because you're giving away a lot because you're not really mentally prepared to kind of perform at your highest level.
Okay, so
Peter, what I'm saying is you should have spoken to me earlier in the day.
I was going to say I probably should really what you're telling me. So, but you know, so far I'm surviving it. So I guess that's
right.
That's something. Anyways, developing better.
Cliff has a question here about considers himself still a newbie trader, had the best month in September, and then October started today and he hit max loss. He kind of feels a little impartial when it comes to money, but he does struggle with finding what he believes is his trading edge even after months of already trading. He's starting to doubt himself too much. Any advice?
Well, I think any good long-term trader has to be mentally, emotionally, and financially prepared to have months and days or weeks that they struggle. So the fact that I think the difficulty is how that question is phrased. That just starting off the month after having the best month doesn't mean that there's necessarily a problem. Although we've talked in the past about after you've had an extended kind of good run, traders, it's a natural psychological tendency for people to become a little complacent, not even consciously, but unconsciously get a little loose with their process and their discipline. So actually, it sounds counterintuitive, but I often recommend that people, as they actually have performed well, that they need to be increasingly vigilant in their process, because there is a natural tendency to kind of not necessarily think that any trade you throw against the wall is going to stick, but that when you're on a kind of a good streak, there sometimes is a loosening of your kind of against your discipline and your process. I think also just the struggling to kind of find your edge, doubting yourself. I think, part of getting used to being a trader is dealing with the kind of the downside when things don't go well. I think if you could think more about what is going to help you improve your process and your strategy, as opposed to kind of ruminating on what you don't have or feeling a lack of self-confidence. Self-confidence just comes back incrementally and gradually by making good trading decisions and therefore hopefully making winning trades. There's no magic there, and you can't fast forward that process. So I would try to, when the little warning light goes off in your head, when you start to feel down, try to kind of identify areas that have been a little problematic and see if you could work on specific ways that you could improve in those areas, and just look for small, incremental, gradual steps to get better as a way of slowly building back up your confidence.
That is definitely always good. I mean, those streaks, having a bad max loss day, you can quickly go to self-doubt right off the bat, but you just have to remember in the past what you've done, and of course you're going to have some bad days that it happens, and then also just remember today's market wasn't the most friendliest either. It was depending on what your strategy was, Cliff. We got Shoop here, who's heard the podcast previously. She day trades, her husband swings trades. She used to be a competitive gymnast. Her mindset is completely different than his. Do you see a difference with those who swing trade versus day trade psychologically, since he wasn't and isn't competitive in any nature?
Well, it's an interesting thing. I haven't really looked at that from a psychological perspective, but there is an aspect of day trading that is kind of more in the moment competitive, and swing trading kind of a little more longer term. And I think the personality styles may be different a bit. And I could see why, as you describe, Shoop, you yourself and your husband, why those different personality styles might have you each gravitate to different kinds of trading. So yeah, I mean, I guess I work a lot with day traders, and some of the more successful ones do some swing trading, and the kind of successful day traders tend to be more on the kind of competitive athletic front, as you said. So I think there's something to be said for that. And when I've worked at even hedge funds and kind of more long-term places, the personalities tend to be a little different in those kind of more long-term value investor holding trades for much longer periods of time.
Yes, understandable, that's for sure. Oh, there's one.
I would say it's a matter of degree. It's not like a binary answer. You either are good at it or you're poor at it. I think one of the ways, if you're struggling, is to try to decrease the number of things you're trying to focus on at once. More is not always better. And focusing on 10 things at a B- level is not going to be nearly as helpful as focusing on 5 things at an A level. So I think one of the ways is just to try to kind of, narrow the number of things that maybe you're looking at to see if that helps your focus and concentration and therefore your decision making. And then hopefully as you become more comfortable with that and build up a certain level of mental endurance on your focus and concentration, you could slowly expand. There is a tendency sometimes to people to do too much too soon. I prefer for people to go the other way, to build up a sense of comfort and confidence in terms of focusing on smaller number of things and then slowly, incrementally building upon that once you feel like you have had a certain level of mastery.
And sometimes that mastery comes slowly, right, guys? Don't try and rush it. As I'm sort of advising the people with whom I mentor, that it's one thing to watch us and say, "Oh my God, how are they looking at so many things?" Like I've been day trading full time for 3 years, and I've been trading in the markets for over 20 years, and I still can't keep the track of as many things as Andrew does, for example. So I know I'm just at a different level of maturity. So take your own pace. Don't try and force it where you think, "Oh, I've got to watch all of this stuff." To what Dr. Katz just said, you may find more success reducing even below what you may think is the minimum, a number of indicators or number of different stocks, just number of things. But if you're watching them at a higher level of accuracy, that will probably yield better results than trying to watch too many things inefficiently.
And also, Peter, just to follow up on that, one of the things, I give this analogy because it came home a lot. And those of you who have children, I mean, I have adult children now, but when they were younger, it would be the aspect of sometimes you tell your kids something and it may rattle around in their head. And you may not see the fruits of your kind of advice or your guidance come to fruition for extended periods of time. So it doesn't mean it's not playing around in their heads and they're learning from it. That they're not learning from it. It just means that there's a lag time often in terms of processing things and mastering things. And so something that you may try to do at point A may not show itself till point B. So I think Peter's point of trying to be patient with it, and just because you say you're going to do something today doesn't mean you master it tomorrow. That doesn't mean you can't continue to work on it. It just means like all of a sudden you may have an aha moment down the road after a number of days or weeks where you've been working on something.
Actually, it's a good point. That big Z Zen, as you're joking about it, it's one of those where I'll tell you just a really, really quick story. But yeah, same thing. We've, like most parents do, you tell your kids to pick up and put things away for years and years and years, and they never listen, right? They never pick it up. They never put things away. My youngest daughter, she went to university, and first year of university was the first time she was living with somebody else other than family. She comes back at Christmas and goes on this rant about her roommate leaves stuff all over the ground and will never. How tough is it to put something away? Like she just had to walk 1 foot and put the bra away on the whatever. And my wife and I just stared at her until she ran out of steam. And she looked at us, she goes, I know, you've told me so many times, I'm sorry. And that in that moment, 20 years of parenting was vindicated. And we're like, oh my God. Yeah. So she actually did hear all those times. She just chose not to, do something about it until it became meaningful to her. Now it's meaningful. So I use that as an example to say sometimes, yes, you do have to repeat and repeat. And even if it doesn't feel like it's having an effect, it could be until the moment where, it clicks and it'll come in for you. So there you go. Yep.
Keeping yourself in the zone and success is just a byproduct of doing something kind of consistently well. One can't force that. People try to achieve things or looking to the outcome, like how do I get in the zone? And actually, one gets in the zone by just focusing on process. I mean, I could tell you this as not only somebody who's worked with high-level traders and athletes, but also been a long-distance runner for many years. those moments where you're running or in a race and you're kind of just in the zone, as they say, is not a byproduct of trying to do it anyway. It's just the culmination of days and years and months of training and being properly prepared. And then in that moment, just feeling like everything is in sync. In that case, your stride, your breathing, your mindset. It's the same way in trading. There's no substitute for preparation, process and discipline and strategy, as we've talked about. And I think when people integrate all of those things into kind of more holistic working plan, that's when after the fact they say, oh man, that day today, I was so locked in on my trading. Remember, no guarantee that how successful you are, but I was really locked in and just immersed and engaged. And it's almost an after effect that one realizes this is going on. So, I mean, listen, I know it's the holy grail that everybody wants to achieve in what they do, but I think it's really sticking with and doing the necessary work on a day-to-day basis and trying to improve everything that you're doing.
Yeah, it's easier said than done, though, isn't it? Because it requires that focus when.
And let me say, Peter, it's very rare. I mean, again, people say they're in the zone. This is not like a tennis player will say, in most matches, there's a bunch of time that I'm in the zone. Like these are things that happen that most high level performers, whether they're traders or athletes, it's rare that they'll tell you that was achieved. So it's not really the goal. I mean, it's like the ultimate feeling, but most times, people could be concentrating and focused and still have moments of distraction or upset, which is really the norm and not necessarily problematic in itself.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I mean, I can think of a couple of days where I felt like in the zone, like everything was clicking. It's like I could see the market. It was like the Matrix, right? It all made sense and it all worked out. But you're right. That wasn't even necessarily my best day of trading, but it felt the best, right? Because it felt like you were just tuned in to what was happening. And you're right. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen often. It doesn't mean you can't have great progress and opportunity that you're building upon along the way.
But it's also very powerful because what I think it tells ourselves when you get those moments is that is the culmination of really solid, ongoing, day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month work. Like that doesn't happen it only happens to people who do the work over extended period of time at a high level. So again, like Peter said, it doesn't mean like, oh, I was in the zone. Doesn't mean I had a greatest trading day from a P&L point of view. But it is it is then known part of your DNA. It is very confidence building because I think it's very powerful to know that one could get to that place, even though it might be rare, because it is a kind of a really locked in, really positive feeling and vibe.
I've had a glimpse of paradise. I know it exists.
Yes.
I just got spiked AMD, by the way, so I'm out of that trade. So this market is moving up and pulling things with it. Mike, I wasn't sure where you got questions, so my apologies.
Oh, say that again. Sorry, I didn't hear you, Peter.
I said I wasn't sure which question you had got to, so I didn't know where to pick up the thread.
So it's Go here who just posted in. So if I swing trade as well as day trade, does that mean I have to have a split personality disorder? Is there a way that you need to snap back and forth between the two?
Well, I just be sure to. I think you'll make life easier for yourself if you know what personalities are present in which days. So there you go. So if there's go on one day and stop on the other, then the go days are like our swing days, and maybe the stop personality days are the day trade days. No, it doesn't mean that at all. I think partly when people do both trades, they often say they have a little bit different feel for one kind versus the other, just based on your own personality kind of style and what the feel is. So I assume that question is a humorous one, thus my humorous answer or attempt at that. So for $29.95, no.
Yeah.
Here's my hints. There's actually no hints. It's work. It's preparation. It's, as we said, it's doing what you need to do to be the best trader you can be on a day-to-day, week-to-week, and month-to-month basis. See, the problem with that kind of question, from my point of view, is that the goal there, it becomes a very outcome-oriented goal. How do I get into the zone? Whereas the zone is a byproduct of being immersed in the work and engaged in the work. See, that's what the goal should be. And that being immersed and engaged happens as a result of discipline and process and preparation and studying the markets and being attuned with what's going on. That all of a sudden, those moments, and maybe Peter, you can attest to this as well, when it happens, it's really like, oh, it's like you're there. You kind of notice so often almost after the fact, but it's not something that you go into trying to achieve, because that's like going into the tennis match saying, I'm only thinking about winning the match, as opposed to playing each point well. And as the process of playing each point well, all of a sudden in the middle of the match, I may really notice that I'm locked in and my shots are really going great. It's the same thing with trading. So don't get too caught up in trying to achieve being in the zone. Do the work, and then, how you immersed you will feel and engaged you will feel in the process will kind of evolve and develop over time.
Actually, I love that. You're right. That's a good description of how it is. Like, you have to do like you said, the work. You put yourself in the position where, to word it differently, you need to put yourself in a position where the zone is possible, but you can never predict nor derive that outcome, right? It's a byproduct of putting yourself in the right position, and sometimes it'll happen and sometimes it doesn't. But by being in that position, you have the best chance of achieving the result. It's sort of like, I always think of, like when Michael Jordan and some of his quotes about like every shot I miss is preparation for the shots that I made, and things like that. Like, basically, it's all of that hard work that puts you in a position. You got to be good to be lucky is another one of those expressions that sort of goes with that. So
Yes. It looks like we lost Dr. Katz for a moment.
I really pissed him off with my last comment. No.
Looks like he dropped.
Yeah.
So, but while he is reloading, we can go to the trade of the day today.
Oh yeah, that'd be great to look at.
So we can. It comes to us from Ree Allen on NKLA. So it saw a double bottom forming in the morning. Took an entry at 22.39 with a 20-cent stop at 22.19. Held through a little chop before it finally broke out. Partialed at 2R, 4R, 6R, 8R, 10R. Then partialed 3 more times and finally exited at the 200 moving average at 26.51. So.
Wow.
So, excellent trade on that.
Interesting.
Yes.
Good trade. I'm interesting. This was earlier today. What's I can't see the time at the bottom. This almost looks pre-market-ish.
10:01. So his entry is at 10:01. If you look, that big volume right where it starts is 9:30. So
yeah,
we go right.
Yeah.
Right. Let me get my pointer over. There we go. So right here is 9:30. Sold off right at the open. Boom.
I don't deny the analysis. I would not have read that as a double bottom because it happened right at the open. I find that fascinating that people see the market in different ways. But obviously, great trade. There's no arguing the result.
No, not at all. So excellent trade there. Hop over to announcements real quick. If you'd like to enter for a chance to win an iPhone 11 Pro for the trade of the week, mark up and post your best trade of the day on Twitter. Tag at Bearable Traders, at MikeB_BBT, at NormBBT. And use the hashtag BBT family, day trading stock market. We'll announce the winner every day on the Closing Bell Show, and then Monday's Closing Bell Show will announce the trade of the week winner. This week for psychology, we had Nada talking about getting intimate with thoughts and emotions. And next week, we'll have Dr. Katz along with Big Z Zen and Dima to talk about some of their trading experiences and handling some psychological issues.
Oh, it's been busy. We've had lots of stuff happening in the room over the last few weeks, which is good. And it will just continue as we head into the fall here.
Yep. And then we had a collection of the worst trades by Mark Randall last night. So if you didn't see that, that will be up shortly in the special guest webinar section of the new Education Center. Next week, we'll have Eamon talking about developing a trade book and how that can help you become consistently profitable. And then with that, for anybody out on YouTube, if you'd like to give our chat room a try and see what we're all about, you can use the code premarket24 or closing bell 24. It will also give you access to our onboarding class. It goes every Monday evening in our classroom. And if you'd like to purchase a one-time lifetime membership, and no kidding, you purchase it one time, you get all the benefits. Use the code FALL35 at checkout. And there's less than 20 seconds in the market.
So there is. Brian, so Dr. Katz had some technical issues. Looks like he lost his internet, so he's not going to be able to rejoin us. So he wanted me to say goodbye.
But I just got back.
Oh,
just to say goodbye.
So that stuff I just said about him, guys, ignore that, please. That doesn't apply. I mean, and hello.
I apologize again. I know we have to close now, but I wanted to at least get back on and say a proper goodbye.
We appreciate that.
Yes. Okay. Okay, everybody have a good afternoon. Good day. Take it easy, guys.
Yeah, we'll miss you over the next few weeks, Dr. Katz, but have a great fall season, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Good.
On the market, guys, I just wanted to make a mention because Brian also asked me to, he lost power on his laptop. We seem to have technical issues running amok here. But he wanted me to mention that he's been watching the VIX. So that's VXX. If you're watching VXX, he says it looks like on the daily it's creating a little bit of a bottom here, sort of a triple bottom pattern. And that can often be a sign of exhaustion. Sorry, I'll read his note here. You can mention the VIX spiking up a little here might mean an indication that the markets are getting a little toppy as people reach for some protection in the options market. So essentially he's looking at this as a sign that the markets may be seeing a little bit of downside over the next little while. So we'll see if that pans out, but it's just a note from Brian on what he's seeing on the VXX. Remember, that's an inverse indicator, being sort of a measurement of risk in the market. So when it goes up, the market tends to go down and vice versa.
Yeah. And then...
Jared. I want to know what happened with Jared's trade on Naked. It did eventually go up. Did you make a full half cent on that?
Naked trade of the day.
He's out at 14. He made 1 penny on 8 million shares. No, he literally got in at 13 and got out at 13 and then got out at 14 and made money on the trade. It's nuts.
I just love how the chart has 5 13-cent levels on it.
I know. Well, it's like, again, if you look at the bid and ask, it's quoting in tenths of a cent. Like
yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well,
there we
that
go.
all works.
Earnings today? Nothing.
Yeah. Nothing. All right. That makes it easy.
And earnings tomorrow? Wait for it. Wait for it. Yeah, nothing.
Nothing. Still waiting for it.
Yep.
Right.
Gotta wait till Monday. Gotta wait till Monday. Oh wait,
Right.
that's right. There's nothing on Monday either.
Yeah, well, earnings season is pretty much over now, so now we're just into regular trading. Now, that being said, we're in October, and for those of you that haven't been in the markets for a long time, do you know what October means? Well, oops. Generally, October, tradition pumpkin spice. Yes, that's right. We're going to pumpkin spice the entire market.
Can't wait. Beer Oktoberfest. Art's got it.
Yeah. Well, Jennifer, earnings season's been weird this year because it's sort of one is running into the next because companies have sort of spread out their earnings. But generally October is one of the. What do you? Sorry, people are posting. What the heck is that?
Ooh. Oh. What is that?
Oh my goodness.
What is that?
That's so sad. Pull it up. That's what happens when you drain pumpkins of their spice.
For everybody out on YouTube. Yes.
Anyway, October is historically the month when the biggest crashes have occurred. So I just pointed out that if you look back to the big ones, right, the Great Depression, 1929, the stock market crash of 87, both happened in October. So not predicting that that's going to happen, just when it's happened, October seems to be the month when it happens. Hey, better to be aware of it because I wouldn't want anybody to get caught in, it's gone down a bit. Tell you what, I'll turn this into a swing trade and it'll come back. And that's how disasters occur. So
yes,
I'm not saying that the markets are going to go down or to short everything because on average, October is just an average month. But if you think about it, if it's on average just an average month, when you factor in all the big declines, there's a lot of times it goes up. There's some times when it goes down huge. Just be aware, big moves have happened in October historically. So, I think you just got to be on your toes and extra vigilant is the advice I'm getting to here. So that's my recommendation for everybody. With that note, we are in a new month. Hopefully the month of October started satisfactorily for you. And the day of the week.
Thursday.
Wasn't the big, it was like Black Thursday, right? Or Black Tuesday? I always forget. What day of the week did the big crash happen?
Black Friday,
Thursday,
I
wasn't
think.
it?
Was it Thursday? Maybe I just know Black Friday from being on the drill field. Black Friday.
Yeah, I think it was.
Maybe it was Thursday.
Black Monday was the market crash, October 19th, 1987. Oh, that's right. I guess I'm thinking about it because I remember watching the documentary, and so it was Black Thursday in October 24th, 1929, and then Black Monday was actually when the markets crashed in 1987. But the price action started on a Thursday, but everybody believed that we were going to see a recovery, and then Monday, of course, was not a recovery. It was terrible. So anyways,
yes.
I'm not trying to feed like all of conspiracy theories or get everybody terrified, but I think it's better to know these things and just be aware of it, so that we just, as I said, trade cautious, be cautious.
Yes.
Cautious. Yes, indeed. So with that, I'm going to call it a night. Have a good evening. Don't forget to journal your trades. Welcome to October, Mike. Thanks as always. And,
absolutely.
We'll
thanks
to
everybody out
tomorrow
there on YouTube.